We are live for Heat of Friday edition of the Win Daily Sports NBA DFS show. Tony's at the Sixers game tonight, so it is Adam and I getting you ready for this big slate. Adam, how you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. Kind of a little bit of an oddball slate, a little bit smaller than a normal Friday night slate. A lot of times we're into the double digits a game, only 7 tonight, and the field has not flocked to where I thought they might have. So I'm a little bit surprised. We could have actually a pretty nice GPP slate.
Yeah, gonna be really off the grid tonight, so it should be a very good tournament slate for us, and we'll just dive right into it. First game on the slate, tipping off at 7 p.m. Eastern. Many games actually tipping off before 7:30. Charlotte's on the road visiting the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, very tight rotation again for Charlotte. On top of the fact that they just traded away Ish Smith, so this rotation, if it wasn't already bare as ever, it definitely is right now. Are you getting any exposure to this one?
I mean, LaMelo Ball is one of the chalkier players on the evening, so he'll probably be pretty involved in the cash lineups tonight. I think Kelly Oubre is still, pretty reasonable price, as is PJ Washington. I know he did everybody dirty last time, but we talk all the time. You can't let that bug you. He still played 34 minutes at 5,200 against the Pistons. That's pretty interesting. So yeah, I definitely think there's still ways to go about it. Hopefully, with Ish Smith kind of out of the rotation now, traded away, I'm kind of hoping LaMelo Ball starts to see more consistent minutes. Like, now is kind of the time they got to start pushing for trying to get into the playoffs. They don't have the backup point guard that's been playing some of those minutes. I mean, LaMelo Ball's a young gun, man. Let him run the show for 35 plus minutes a night. It shouldn't be this hard.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know what he's coming in at in terms of rostership. I haven't looked just yet, but man, at 9K, he grades out ridiculously well for me. And if he's coming in, if he's coming in relatively lower owned, then I will end up playing LaMelo Ball tonight. Right now, I don't have him in my lineup.
He's not right now. He is second most rostered, but I have a feeling some of the field's still kind of waiting for news from another game. So we'll see where he does end up.
Yeah, absolutely. If he's going to be the overwhelming chalk of the slate, I'm going to be out. But if he ends up falling down, I don't have to say like 5% roster there. It's never going to get that low. But if he ends up being outside the top 10, then I will look to pair him with another stud there. So we'll end up seeing what's going on. But I do think you guys will see in my core that you need at least one piece of this rotation no matter what. For me, it all depends on rostership, and everybody's likely going to be paying up. So getting a guy like PJ Washington, I'm not completely opposed to that. I actually like that idea a lot. Or you could just go back to Kelly Oubre also, right? So
still
with
under
everybody,
6K.
Right. So with everybody that's playing LaMelo Ball, and the thing is that even if the rest of these guys are chalk, you'll need one of them, and I'm okay with one of them and one only, because I don't want, if I'm paying all the way up 9K for LaMelo Ball, he needs to be top 3 in slate and scoring. And he won't be able to do that if you're playing him with Kelly Oubre or Terry Rozier or anyone else. So, and then on the flip side, if you're playing Kelly Oubre or PJ Washington or any one of the other guys, the whole point is that if LaMelo ends up being chalk again, same scenario, you want them to be taking the shots that other people want LaMelo taking, right? So you hope LaMelo does bad. It's 2 birds, 1 stone, and you end up getting your Charlotte exposure in the way of the mid-range there. On the Pistons side, do we have an update on Cade Cunningham just yet?
I have not seen anything past questionable. I mean, he's missed 5 straight games. He missed last night. I'd probably think he's going to be out. Judging on that expectation, I feel like it's somewhat of a trap, but I know given his history this season, it's really not. Jeremy Grant at 6K is too cheap. I mean, I know he struggled a little bit since he's come back. It's not surprising. He was out almost 2 full months, but I mean, you saw last game, like, he still has plenty of upside to go at this salary range. And we also know that Charlotte is pretty good at pulling big games out of opposing players. He's not as chalky as I thought he might be either at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. And Marvin Bagley, recently acquired from the Sacramento Kings, called that one, by the way.
Sure did.
He's not going to be active tonight. They have Kelly O come off the bench, and then it's just Grant and Bay on these wings.
Right.
So that's where you want to attack Charlotte. You could attack Charlotte from anywhere pretty much, but on the inside and on the wing is the best spot. And with Isaiah Stewart pretty much, I don't want to say irrelevant on the offensive side of the ball, but he doesn't get, significant amount of touches to be able to really make that difference for me to want to play a big against Charlotte here. I don't mind going to Jeremy Grant at the 4. Both he and another power forward in that same range are really interesting to me tonight. So for me, it's the first game on the slate. You will have this news before locks, certainly. If Cade Cunningham is ruled out, maybe we could circle back to this one if we have time at the end of the show, if we get the news before we get off here. But just keep in mind that if Cade Cunningham is out, I don't mind getting a back and forth in this game with either Hamidou Diallo or Jeremy Grant.
Yeah, I
want to say that.
I was going to point Diallo out. Minutes haven't been exactly stable, but he has been in the starting lineup. 31. If he gets another 31 minutes like he did last game, he's got a good shot to smash 4,600. And I also don't mind Kelly Olynyk either, because Trey Lyles got traded. Bagley's not going to be there yet. Kelly O at 4K could definitely do some damage in this game environment.
Yeah, I like that
limited
too.
Minutes.
I like that too. I'm likely going to play at least one from each. This all depends. It all rides on it if Cade is out. If Cade is out, I'm definitely getting a back and forth going in this game. But
yeah, I definitely like that idea.
The next game on the slate, 7 p.m. Eastern, the Cavs are on the road visiting the new look Pacers. Tyrese Halliburton making his debut. You got any love for this game? It's going to be a competitive game environment. Darius Garland ruled out for the Cleveland Cavaliers. New addition, Karis LeVert, likely to either start in his place, if not be that sixth man a la Tyler Hero, where he's playing a ridiculous amount of minutes for a sixth man off the bench. So whether he's starting or not, just know that Karis LeVert is going to get the bulk of these minutes, filling in for Darius Garland, who is out with an injury. You got any love for this one? I just think it's going to be great basketball play. I don't know if I'm going to get exposure to it in DFS. I just think it's going to be a great game to watch.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think I like have to have somebody from this game. We actually just got to come across Brogdon and Terry Taylor are out. Isaiah Jackson and the newly acquired Jalen Smith are available. So that kind of muddies up that front court a little bit as well, because I had Goga Bitadze in the core. I might back off that now because I didn't assume Jalen Smith and Jackson would be available. So we're going to see how that shakes out. But LeVert without Garland is a little bit more interesting. But at 86, am I likely to get there? Probably not. I think there's a little bit better spots in that range in a game that we'll talk about here in a little bit. And honestly, I'd probably just rather find the 400 for LaMelo, even at the chalkier ownership tonight.
Yeah, I don't think I do agree. I don't think I'm getting any exposure to this game whatsoever. I was off the Goga chalk, and now I'm really off of it.
Yeah,
Jalen Smith can hoop, man. Like they brought him in for a reason, and I know the Suns messed up by declining his option. That's pretty much why they were forced to trade him away, because he would have just walked away for nothing in the offseason. I'm really curious to see what Indiana does with this front court, and for me, it's going to be a wait and see approach. It's not a risk that I want to take on a slate like this, especially at their tags. Like they're not all 3,500. You know what I mean? Like
no, Goga at 47 would have been interesting, but with Jackson available, and now Jalen Smith, which unfortunately you can't even take a shot at him because he's not on the DK slate. This is going to be a fade for me. So we'll make an adjustment to my core later on in Discord, guys.
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll circle back to that game. Next one, Thunder without SGA once again taking on Philadelphia on the road. As I was saying when we open up the show, Tony is at the Philly game tonight. Newly acquired James Harden will not make his debut tonight. Tyrese Maxey is questionable, as is Shake Milton. Are you getting any exposure to this one? There might be a couple of value pieces on OKC. Are you going back to Josh Giddey? What are we doing with Embiid? There's a lot of questions surrounding this game.
Yeah, realistically on the Thunder side, I think the only guys you can really play are some of the value guys, because Josh Giddey, as far as we know, is still going to be limited to about 30 minutes. 2 games ago, the coach said he'd be limited around 30 for the next few. So obviously we don't know what few means, but few is typically more than 2. And he's only played 30 and 28 in the past 2. So I'm not going to be willing to pay $7,500 for somebody that's on a pretty strict 30-minute limit. He's 19 years old. It's not surprising. So I think if you're looking on the OKC side, it's guys like Trey Mann, it's guys like Kendrick Williams. we'll talk about another guy in my core later that I am getting exposure to the Thunder side. For Philly, man, if Maxey sits, all of a sudden they are really thin tonight because they traded away Curry, they traded away Drummond. Maxey would be out of the rotation. Maybe Shea can get back. Like they don't have an awful lot of bodies right now if Maxey's out on top of it.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? So I will get this out of the way right away. I'm not playing Joel Embiid tonight. I as much as I want to, I don't foresee this being a game where Philadelphia simply cares about a regular season. They just acquired James Harden. They made their goals for this season crystal clear. I don't see Doc. He never runs Joel Embiid into the ground. I can't see him playing. This is not going to be any different. A regular season game against the Thunder as 14-point favorites in the middle of February. I can't pay almost $12K for Joel Embiid tonight. As much as it is a smash spot, I just can't do it. But there might be some surprising value tonight. Matisse Thybulle grades out really well for me, just based on the fact that the offensive opportunities will increase, right? We already know what he can do as a defender, and we know what he can do in the steals and blocks columns. He'll grab a couple of rebounds and he'll dish out a couple of assists, but just in terms of the shooting attempts that he'll have, they'll increase tonight especially if Maxey and or Milton can't go, right? So I'm out on Tobias Harris at 8.3. If you like him, write it out. But I'm not going to talk you off of him. But for me, it's going to be a no, just because
I agree
if you're going in that 8.3 range, you're likely playing 3 upper mid-range studs. And it's not going to be Tobias Harris for me. So I'm not going to make one of my building blocks of an NBA DFS lineup on any given night Tobias Harris. So it's one thing to consider. The rest of these guys are all under 4K, man. Like Cork, Brown, Niang. Man, maybe even like if neither point guard goes, Isaiah Joe is going to get a ton of run. Like this is a wait and see approach for me. And it could be a good value spot depending on what shakes out with the injuries, pun intended. But for me, it just depends like what happens with Shake and what happens with Maxey.
100%.
Either way.
After we just got the living bejesus scared out of us.
Yeah, my bad. My God.
Be prepared.
That was so loud.
Be prepared in cash games to ride some Philly chalk if the injuries go the wrong way.
Yeah, you have to. You absolutely have to. Like for me, it's gonna be Isaiah Joe is the one guy. Like I know we've been doing the Ghost Watch. I'm not gonna make him the official Ghost Watch for this slate, but Isaiah Joe, it sounds crazy, man. But at 3K, like he'll get.
They need a guard.
If they need somebody out there,
right?
They
if
need
Maxey
somebody
and Milton both sit, somebody's got to handle the ball a little bit here.
I crossed that game off my list, but I'm kind of like between.
You may need to uncross it.
Talk myself back into it.
I mean, if Maxey and Milton sit, you're not going to have a choice but to uncross it. With the salaries involved in the thin rotation, it just just like we saw with the Wizards last night. Sometimes it's just the way things are. We
might have to. And the OKC value, I like a ton. I won't talk about one guy because I know he's in your core, so we'll talk about it then.
Yep.
But I do like Kenrich Williams. I do. Like any one of the I'm not going up to Dort. I'm certainly not going to Giddey. You already touched on that. For me, it's all about the value on the OKC side. And if that's one of your last guys in, I am more than okay with that. So
yeah, like anybody under 5K, because even Basley's kind of getting up there for my taste. I don't really want to pay $5,800 for Basley.
No, I don't think I could. I don't think I could get there either. They still don't have any true bigs, and even if they did against Joel Embiid, it's going to be a no.
It's not going to matter.
Yeah, that's going to be a hard pass. But man, it's the rotation gets awfully interesting if a lot of these guys sit out. So, Denver at Boston, a lot of money coming in on the under on this one. It's going to be. I have this grade out as one of the ugliest game environments on the slate. Are you touching anything at all here?
No, not really. I mean, we know Jokic is always in play for me. He's fine if that's where you want to go. I don't think Robert Williams can really hang with him. If you want to play him, great. I'm not tonight. That should tell you a lot right there because on most slates, I am Mr. Nikola Jokic. Barton 64, Aaron Gordon 56. Like, I don't have the stomach for any of that. This, like you said, this game's pretty ugly, just even on the surface, let alone what it's grading out for you. It's a 218 total. It is the second lowest behind the 76ers game, which is only 206. There's just no real reason to go there for anybody, really, in my mind.
Absolutely. I'll make this one quick. I'm completely off this game altogether. There's not a single player in my player pool.
Yeah,
if you land on Joker, I'm okay with it just because it's Joker. But
right, exactly.
Even in this game environment, I like what I said about Embiid. It doesn't really apply to Joker because Denver does need all the wins that they can get. But at the same time, it's just at 12.4, I would want 70 plus, and this is not the game environment for him to do it. If anybody can in a game environment like this, it's Joker. So
right.
I'm okay with it. Outside of that, completely crossing off this game. But we're halfway through. We'll check in with the chat. Keith says, "Let's get it." Keith, you're here every day, man. Mad love.
Props to you, man. We
really appreciate the support, bro. Timmy says, "Let's go." Oh my God, Cox, what's going on, bro? Long time no. I would say long time no see, but it's more like long time no speak. It says Rondo GPP. Interesting.
Real quick before we answer that one, Maxey and Milton will both play tonight. Just
yeah. So that game's completely off my. It's back to completely off my list.
Yeah, the Philly side's back to completely off my board.
Yeah, no need. That's it. Absolutely. Tony must be on the Philly strip celebrating that trade. Yeah, no kidding.
Maybe
Tony was really pumped. Tony was really pumped. I don't know if there's a word missing after strip, but we'll let Tony answer that question when he comes back on Monday. Got any love for newly acquired Buddy Hield for the Indiana Pacers?
I mean, 51's not a bad price, and his upside if he's hot from behind the stripe, but I'd prefer not to. Last guy in, you want to take a shot in GPP, he's probably going to be low owned, but past that, new team and everything, I don't really want to make a case for him because we just don't know how they're going to be utilized in this rotation right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a wait and see approach for me. If you are playing one, it's going to be Holly, but again, like I could see it's a steep price to pay. So that's the only thing
on a new team too. Like this is literally the first time he stepped onto the court with these guys. It's tough.
Yeah. Ivan checking in. What's up? Court time. Yeah, I mean it really depends on what goes on with Philly, man. Like they're 14-point favorites in this one. Like Doc
is going to get some garbage run and pay off, but
yeah, absolutely. Jeff says trade tonight. Yeah, we're gonna talk about that game. That game's next on the docket. So we'll talk about that one. Average gamer trade. My bad. My bad. My phone is usually always on silent, and one of my
average gamer for 10 scared the hell out of me too.
The funniest thing is that my phone only rings when it's FaceTime because, like, very quick story. I'm sure everyone's gonna get a laugh out of this. Like my entire friend group, no one answers their phone. Nobody answers a text. No one answers it. So we started this thing a couple of years back. I would say like 5 or 6 years back, where if it was a quote unquote emergency, even if it was just important news, like there's pizza on sale or something like that, like not an actual emergency, but one of those things where like you have to tell the boys right away. I would FaceTime them all, and you answer your phone right away. So now every time we call each other, we just FaceTime because that's the only way you can get an answer out of one another. And even my phone doesn't ring. Like if you were to call me right now, you wouldn't hear it. It's still on ringer. I still haven't turned it off because like hopefully it doesn't go off again. And I'm gonna do that because it's a bit out of reach right now. So I'll do that in a second. But like if you called me right now, it wouldn't ring. It's only FaceTime. So my bad. That was really funny though. Hopefully you guys got a good laugh out of that on a Friday. Dan Green, what's up, guys? Love your work. Really appreciate it, man. Really appreciate it. Hope you guys are liking the adjusted format and everything like that. So hopefully you guys have been cashing in with us the last couple of weeks. We've been on a really good run. So thank you guys. Really means a lot.
Raptors for the win last night, man. They made us some serious money at the book. Made up for everything else.
Raptors make us bills, bro. Raptors make the bills. Jimmy says feeling better. Yeah, man. I think it was like Wednesday when I was talking to you guys about it in Discord. I felt like a truck had hit me. I was absolutely nuked. And then just got a really good sleep, so I woke up feeling
Dude,
much better. So
our weather has been schizophrenic this week, and when it goes up like back and forth like that, it always bugs me a little bit. So
yeah,
I'm not really surprised.
I was absolutely toast yesterday. So it was a good recovery day. But one of my favorite games on the slate. It sucks that the slate ends with Orlando, Utah, because it's the grossest thing. I wanted it to just end at 8 p.m. Eastern because the two last games are the best. The Spurs visiting the Hawks. Bro, what to say about that Derek White trade? I don't even know what to make of it. I don't know what just happened. But
I don't necessarily get it myself, but I know what it means for tonight, and that's all I really care about right now.
That's it.
The DeJounte show.
Guys, if you haven't been all in on DeJounte Murray,
you better be tonight.
For the last 3 years, you have to be tonight. You absolutely have to be. Primary ball handlers versus Atlanta, they're literally bottom 10 in every single statistic against a primary ball handler. Rebounds given up are ridiculous. They're second worst in the league in assists given up. It's just
he needs to score more without Derek White.
He needs to score more. His PRA, for what it's worth, his PRA is the highest it's been. And you've seen the performances. You've seen the performances that he's put up. This is the highest his PRA has ever been this season.
I don't remember it being over 40 this year, and it's a 41.5 if I remember correctly.
It has never touched 40, and that's why I've literally been hammering it 99% of his games.
Right.
Because it's constantly in that 34 to 36 range, and it is really high tonight. So, guys, I wrote this in the article. Make sure you guys go and check that out, windailysports.com. Please go and check out the article if you haven't done so already. But I am all in on DeJounte Murray tonight, to the surprise of absolutely nobody. It's just another NBA slate where the Spurs are playing, and I'm all in on DeJounte Murray. So, but and tonight,
it sounds like we repeat ourselves, and some guys might be like, "Oh, they're talking about DeJounte again." This spot is incredible. Like, without Derek White, the Hawks are 27th in defensive rating. Like, when we gushed about him against the Rockets, this spot isn't that much different with White off the floor. He's averaging 1.5 points per minute. Like, that's not that far behind Giannis.
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And do you have the defensive ratings up for teams right now?
I can get them up pretty quick. I know the Hawks are 27th because I wrote about DeJounte quite a bit today. We'll leave it at that.
I'm assuming I'm assuming nothing has changed. Water is still wet, sky's still blue, that Houston is dead last in defensive rating.
They are.
And what is their defensive rating right now, if we read that out? Just for you guys to understand like what these statistics mean, right? So
the defensive rating for the
Rockets
is 115.7. They are dead last. The Hawks are 113.1.
So just so you guys know, the higher the number is, the worse it is for defensive rating. Houston clocks in right under 116. They are dead last in the league. Trae Young's individual defensive rating is almost 117. He's a worse defender than Houston.
Right.
So
and don't forget,
this for me is the spot of all spots.
The Spurs, it's still taking some adjusting because for years the Spurs didn't play like this. They're 5th in pace. This is not like
it's a young team, man. They play quick now.
Right.
They fly up and down.
They get out. Right. They get out and they play, man. And the Hawks are 17th in pace. Like, they're not, they're about league average, but that's plenty.
What really helps that is DeJounte is second in the team in rebounding, because when he grabs that rebound, he doesn't have to dish the rock. He starts to transition himself.
He's on the run.
Exactly. So this is a dream spot for both of these teams. And one guy that I'm really eyeing, guys, it takes a lot for me to talk about this guy. John Collins is in a really good spot tonight. John Collins is in a really good spot. And when we were talking about Jeremy Grant earlier, and I said that there's a second player that I really like in that range, John Collins on DK, just a couple $100 more than Jeremy Grant. I do like both of those guys. And the thing that I'll say about John Collins, San Antonio gets absolutely cooked by the pick and roll defense because Jakob Poeltl has the mobility of a tree trunk. So for that, I was trying to keep a straight face the whole time that I said that. I just
that wasn't helping you. That wasn't gonna happen.
He has the mobility of a tree trunk, guys. So you need to be able to see that Trae Young has the second best pick and roll offense in this league, and the only reason why he's not number one is because Chris Paul hasn't retired yet. As long as he's playing,
the point guard is still active.
If anybody didn't watch the game yesterday, Chris Paul just put on a show. This man just put on Disney productions. Like it was ridiculous. He put on an absolute show last night, and he will forever be the pick and roll point guard. He's the point guard. He's the pick and roll god. He's everything when it comes to being a point guard. So Trae Young has the second best pick and roll offense in this league, and that says a lot. John Collins as the roll man is ranked very first in the league in terms of being that we call the roll man. He is the receiver to the quarterback when Trae Young ends up dishing that rock to him, and San Antonio gets absolutely cooked by the pick and roll. So it's something to keep an eye on. If you're not going 3 studs tonight and you rather live in the mid range, you could go DeJounte with a second stud, and then you could go both Grant and Collins if you want. Right? There's so much value on the slate that if that's the route you take, that's okay too. Where you end up going DeJounte with another stud, you pair 2 of these 6K guys, the Grants, the Collins, that grouping, and then you go value after that. That works also if you want a bit more balance. So for me, it's going to be those 2 guys that really headline it. Is Devin Vassell still like 99% rostered?
He is the highest roster in the slate. He's pushing almost 50 on DK, which
so
listen, I'll play it in cash, but you won't catch me doing it in GPP. It ain't going to happen.
All right, guys. He grades out really well for me, and rightfully so. And you guys know I'm a Devin Vassell truther. Been that way since the draft, and I thought he would go much higher in that draft. I had him as a top 6 pick in that draft, and I will follow him throughout his entire career, rooting for him because he can seriously hoop. But at that amount of rostership, it's tough, guys. It's really tough because if you're playing a Hornet, if you're playing DeJounte, you end up becoming very quickly like the rest of the field. If you're not playing a chalky Hornet, meaning you're not playing LaMelo Ball, like basically if you're playing PJ Washington, that's where I would end up saying that you can eat the chalk on Vassell. You're going to have to eat some chalk tonight. A lot of these guys are in good spots for a reason.
Right.
But just remember that like there are other guards and Pop is going to pop. You know what I mean? Like it's just
he does what he does.
He'll randomly play Josh Primo for 36 minutes. That's just what it is. So I'm taking the consistency with DeJounte Murray. If your last man in is Vassell, I am A-okay with that. He's going to do well tonight. He will hit value. It's going to be consistency. But if you want to take a risk to get first place in a tournament, which should be all of your goals, is always take down a tournament, it's likely not going to be with Devin Vassell in your lineup tonight. One of these other 3.5 to 4.5K guys is going to end up outscoring Devin Vassell, and that's going to be the pivot that you need, though that's the range that you need to be looking at. So just something to keep in mind. We're not saying we don't like Vassell. We both love him. But at that rostership, it's really tough for me to justify playing him in tournaments tonight.
Yeah, and at this juncture, you can almost pencil him in cash. Like even if we get some weird news, unless it's involving him, he's not going to fall so far that he won't be a cash game staple tonight. At least
absolutely. We'll get to a couple more questions. Yeah, I'm all in on DeJounte. Yep. Absolutely all in on DeJounte tonight. Brian needs a live special too where he goes over all the names. Yeah, well, we need to get like a Brian dictionary. Like obviously, Brian and I have been talking ball for quite some time, so like I end up loving them. But yeah, like Brian, we need to like develop a translation tool for the Chrome Over Boys and Boxhead and BSB and everyone else that we call. So something to note. Yeah, I kind of want to change that title because right now it just says Ghost and Adam, and I don't really like the fact that it's literally with my name in it. It should be both of us. So I might end up changing that title, but we'll see. To be determined. Comb Over Boys. Oh my God, he's playing Zach Collins again tonight. I'm not going to comment on that.
You know, I don't think we can talk smack. He was right the last time he said it.
This absolutely killed me. The new avatar in Discord. If you guys are in our Discord, please go and check Brian's new avatar. It absolutely killed me. Brian, I didn't have time to tag you because I was trying to figure out. Shout out Tony, by the way. I know he's probably not watching because he's likely on the way to Philly Stadium. But shout out Tony because I don't know how he does this. There's like 5 million clicks that you have to do to get these things up and running. So I was busy doing that because I'm not exactly.
I just pulled up the avatar. Holy hell!
It is so funny. If you guys are not in our Discord, please do. You should be windailysports.com/chat. Make sure you guys go and join. And if you are already in there, go and check Brian's avatar out, man.
I'm not giving it away. You have to go in to look. Oh my God,
it is so funny. Ball, Tatum, Murray. I don't like the pace, but I've got a gut on Tatum. Bro, Tatum can absolutely sink me tonight. And Adam knows why. I'm not gonna jinx it by saying what they are, but I have like Tatum can absolutely bury me tonight. I'll just say that. I'm not playing Jason Tatum, but he can absolutely destroy me. So we'll say that. Play 1.5 of the comb over, boys. Yeah, no kidding. Is DeRozan your second stud tonight? We're about to touch on that game, Jimmy. So I'll actually come back and put this up on the screen. We'll end with a Hawks question. Thoughts on Capella at 6,100 on FanDuel? It's really cheap, and the FanDuel scoring ends up favoring him too.
He's cheap everywhere right now. So I get it, but at the same time, like they're not necessarily giving him the minutes that I want to see, even at this price, because I mean he's not a 53 on DK. He's playing 20 minutes a night. Like in the last 3 games, 19, 20, 21. That's tough, man. That's tough to get there. Even in what's still a pretty decent spot. Maybe he sees 25, if San Antonio leaves Pirtle on the floor, but I don't know. I don't know if I got the stomach for it. I really don't.
Yeah. I'd
rather play John Collins. I mean, even at the salary difference, I'd still rather Collins, I think.
For me, I will say this about Capella. You're going to want to be there when he explodes because at this price tag, it makes negative sense for him to be this low ever.
He's going to nuke a slate at one point. I just don't know when that's going to be.
He will drop 45 to 50 fantasy points one night. I'm like, we're not going to try and be heroes and be mind readers and tell you tonight's the night. Like, no, I'm just calling it like we see it. I don't know when that night's going to be, but I'm okay if you play him because he's going to be completely unrostered, and one of these slates he will absolutely nuke it. I've been looking at him every single Hawk slate.
I have too.
I haven't pulled the trigger yet, and I'm waiting to, and I'm itching to because he will nuke one of these slates, and he's going to be completely unrostered.
Yep.
I just don't know if it's going to be that slate tonight. But if you're taking that shot, I absolutely love what you're doing for tournaments. So I'll say it on that. We'll bring back Jimmy's question back up. Is DeMar DeRozan the second stud tonight? Because that leads us to, I'm pretty sure it's both of our favorite games. Do you like this game the best? I didn't even ask you. My bad.
It's like this and the Spurs game are pretty much, 1A, 1B, if you want to go that route.
Right, so we'll say it that way. We'll keep the punchline. We're keeping the best for last. Our favorite game of the slate. Even I probably should have checked you before I said that. But Minnesota at Chicago. I'll let you start. This one's gonna go nuts.
Yeah, man. You said you kind of wanted one piece of each of the Hornets and the Pistons game. Most likely, if Cade is out, we need the information on who's going to play and who's not because D'Lo and Anthony Edwards are questionable on the Wolves side, as is Patrick Beverly, and then on the Chicago side, DeSumo, Vooch are both questionable. So we don't know who's all playing yet. I'm sorry, Vooch is probable, so we can pretty much pencil him in. You want one of each side here. And as long as he's active, I kind of expect him to play. D'Lo run back with a DDR or Levine is awfully intriguing to put with DeJounte Murray and some value guys.
I really like this game.
I mean, how can you not, right? It's a 240 total. Like, we haven't seen that very much.
It grades
and it's a 3.5 point spread. 241 total, easily the highest on the slate. It's almost 10 points over the next highest. Like, guys, the Charlotte game is 226. This one's 241. It's a 15-point difference, man.
If AO doesn't play, it's going over too. It's going over 240. That's a lot of points.
That's a lot of
points.
That's a lot of points.
And no one's playing this game, man. I don't get it.
I do not understand why. I don't know if people are just waiting.
Well, the thing is that
lock.
Like here's the thing. Like it's for me, it's the only reason, and I'm trying to understand the field's mindset here with not playing this game. The Bulls, you're gonna want Levine, DDR, or Vooch, and you can't do that if you're playing LaMelo Ball, DeJounte, and who's the other chalk stud? Like it just doesn't work, right? Like you're not gonna get fired up to play Troy Brown. You know what I mean?
Trying to get
like you would want a Chicago stud, and then on the Minnesota side, I'm sure everyone's just waiting for all those injuries.
Embiid
But the thing is that
Trae Young are coming in at 20% each, so that's where some of the other ownership's going right now. What are you doing over there? Phone's
this
ringing?
one,
You got sirens coming? What is happening?
yeah, the feds are in my parking lot. I live in a condo building. They're not coming for me. It's not like they're in my driveway, guys. There's millions of people in this parking lot, but I literally see Fed lights outside. But anyways, Beverly Q, D'Lo Q, Anthony Edwards Q. Like, I guess I'll say Joshua Kobe Q, because I know he's watching the show and I don't want to leave him out.
Sorry, buddy. Whatever. I don't really care for Q.
Nas is Q. Taurean Prince, absolute beauty. This man is the gem of all gems, Taurean Prince.
So just keep in mind too, these guys were all Q in the last game, and Beverly was the only one that didn't play.
Yeah, they literally all played.
They literally all played. So that's why I tend to lean towards everybody but Beverly will be active. So like right now I have Russell slotted in my lineup.
I really hope Ant sits out.
That would be beautiful.
I hate when Ant plays, bro. I absolutely hate it.
It's just so hard to get them right when all three are active.
He just plays hero ball, bro. He just goes up and chalks 25 shots and he bricks 23 of them. It's so annoying.
Like you look at this last game, right? Cat only scores 42 DK points, and he didn't shoot well. You know, 9 to 7. Well, I guess he did shoot well. 9 to 17 actually not that bad, but like he didn't do anything for a lot of that game. And you got Anthony Edwards over here just chucking 25.
Well, your center should not have 8 assists unless you're Nikola Jokic. A center should not have 8 assists.
Right,
and that's what it is, man. Towns is literally dishing the rock because Ant doesn't pass, bro. He literally does not pass.
Like his last
doesn't do anything else.
He hasn't exceeded 18 shot attempts. This is Cat now for like 3 weeks. It's not. I don't know, man. I get Anthony Edwards is talented. That's not good.
We just talked about Towns' stat line in that game. That was the second half of back-to-back against Sacramento, right? The one that they lost. They lost on the second half.
Yeah.
Go and check Anthony Edwards' stat line in that game. It will make you teapot laugh.
I see 25 shots right off the hop. So that's not
25
good.
Shots, 26, 1 and 1. And he got absolutely cooked on D. That's the classic Anthony Edwards game. People get
that's
so
a terrible game for 38 minutes. I'm sorry.
Everyone gets hyped about this guy, bro. He shot 40% from the field. That doesn't get you up in the morning. You know, it's really not all that great. And then you get 26, 1 and 1. He's not attacking the glass. He literally does not pass. That assist is probably borderline airball that fell into Carl Anthony Towns and he got a wide open layup. That has to what it have been.
Like D'Lo came off a screen and just took a handoff and shot it. Something like that.
Yeah, maybe it was something like that. Like he was getting double teamed and he just handed him off the ball and D'Lo drained a 3 or something. Like it's just I want Ant sitting out because Towns will actually get better looks, as will D'Lo, and I love watching D'Lo play in this kind of game environment. Zach LaVine facing his former franchise. Do not forget that. Before we get into the props, do we even have to talk about Orlando, Utah? Are you cool if I just cross that one off?
And I'm crossing that one off, but we do have one piece of news to touch on.
Gobert?
We can touch on Gobert, but Trez is available to play for the Hornets tonight. So that throws their front court into a little bit of whack.
Spicy.
And, well, Trez isn't available on the DK slate.
That's good for Kelly O.
And then Cade Cunningham will play. We were both a little bit mistaken on that. Cunningham is in. There you go.
That's
Jimmy on top of it.
That's gross.
It's not helpful. I don't mind Jeremy Grant, but I would have much rather Cade sit. So
I don't like that. Not a fan.
I still really like Olynyk from that game. And then I'm probably going with Oubre, or I'll just go up to LaMelo for my Pistons Hornets exposure.
I like Kelly Olynyk now off the bench against Trez. He's gonna.
I really do too. 4K. I'm digging that play a lot.
For me, the biggest thing is that they traded away Josh Jackson. But we'll update you guys in Discord because we're almost at the top of the hour here. So it's time for your favorite part of the show. It has to be your favorite part of the show. It's Props for Profit. We've been on a pretty crazy run for the last quite some time now. When it takes me that long to remember how long it takes, it's been quite some time that we've been absolutely cooking. We're going to keep it rolling again tonight. Adam starting. Doug
Yes.
McDermott over 2.5 3-pointers and plus 135.
So the board was, not that great in my mind today. A lot of props I didn't exactly love, but with Derek White in a great game environment, McDermott should be able to take a couple more shots tonight. Man's shooting 42.9% from deep this year. So plus 135 with a couple more shots. Like, you look at his game logs, man, it's not unheard of for him to can three. In his last little bit, he's got 5, 2, 6, 3. He throws an offer in there every now and again. It's Dougie McBuckets. We're not talking about, one of the greatest offensive players ever. But at 135, with the environment, with who they're missing, it's definitely worth the shot.
I dig it. I absolutely dig it. And then you're ending it with an SGP, baby, plus 425. DeJounte, 20 plus points. John Collins over 15.5. McDermott, 2 plus threes. So 2 or more. And then total 20 plus points plus rebounds.
Yeah, so, I'm cool taking the shot with McDermott, but I don't want to lose a single game parlay because he only hits 2 instead of 3 3-pointers. So I shaved one off for there. We talked about DeJounte Murray's going to have to, score the rock a little bit more than he normally would. He already averages just a little bit under 20. You talked up John Collins. He's averaging 15 points on the year anyways. I think he should clear 16 pretty easily, but, single game parlay, I'm willing to bring that down a little bit just, to try and hit this whole thing. And then Pirtle, he's at the very least got to match whatever Capella plays. And I think you still see a couple more minutes without Capella. So even in 25, 28 minutes, he's averaging 22 points and rebounds on the year. So if you have a couple off his average, add everything up, and it's 425.
I dig that. That's some real juicy odds. I love it. So we talked about Devin Vassell chalk in terms of tournaments tonight on the DFS side of things. Doesn't change what he can do for us at the book. And when we talk about hedging, it's not just hedging on the same site in the same contest. You could hedge from site to site. You could hedge from DFS to sportsbooks also, guys. And for me, Devin Vassell over 20.5 points, rebounds, and assists is a number that is just way too low. In a spot like this, should easily get well over 2 rebounds, and 2 assists. Should be 3+ with ease of both. 14 points for Devin Vassell is way too low. Way too low. In this type of game environment against the Hawks, I absolutely love this play.
It wouldn't overly shock me if he just cleared that on points.
That too.
Or got real close.
And at plus 105, you're not letting massive juice. It's
exactly.
Literally plus money. It's literally plus money. Like you have to do it. And then we're going DDR over 29.5 points, or if you want to same game parlay it with something else, you could just do 30 plus. DDR's got 30 plus in 4 straight. Minnesota ranks bottom 10 in scoring against power forwards, and I can talk for another hour about how bad Anthony Edwards is at defending the ball. So DDR is gonna absolutely cook them tonight, and this does not change whether AO plays or doesn't. Zach LaVine does, so that's why I didn't post a LaVine prop today. Went to LaVine the other day. He did really well for us, and we made some money with Zach LaVine. Now it's DDR's turn, and we will go there. And did we miss your record? No. So I was going to end it with this, try and keep you guys on your toes. It's Fajita Friday. While we run through the questions, I'm going to post the cores up there. So that's what we're going to end with now. What's
just
up?
Came across Denver will start Bones Highland tonight for the injured Monte Morris.
Model always knows.
Model always knows, buddy.
Model always knows. We're going DeJounte. Goga, we might end up changing. For you,
we're gonna be changing Goga.
We're gonna be changing Goga. You want to put Bones in there instead?
I was gonna say I might well just throw Bones in there because that actually is a little bit cheaper and might work a little bit better.
All right, we're gonna do this then.
That actually came at perfect timing because it gave me an easy pivot.
There you go. Look at that. Look at the editing skills, boys and girls. That's the way you get it done. That was really not that bad. But DeJounte Murray, Bones Highland, Poku. You want to talk about your boy Poku? We didn't get. We both saved it for this. So.
Yeah, listen,
if you could say his name 10 times, by the way, I'd be very impressed. If you could say his name 10 times in a row.
I'm not even sure I can say it once. DeJounte, we already gushed over, Bones, we literally just got word that he's starting, so it's interesting. Even in a bad game environment, he's cheap enough to pay off easily at this price. With Giddy being limited, Poku got recalled from the G League. He's been playing some big minutes, man. 30, 35 minutes. He's only 3,500, and he's shown off a little bit. He can stuff the stat sheet. I mean, it's a little bit of a misnomer, but he can score, he can rebound, he can dish the rock just a little bit. He's 3,500, man. You don't need 40 DK points.
It's that cheap OKC exposure, man.
Right. He's still going to get some minutes, and then that leaves you with plenty of room to get some Hornets, to get some Pistons. Although Pistons, you can still go cheap now. But then you get the crown jewel of the slate, and that's Minnesota Chicago exposure. I do prefer D'Lo on the Minnesota side as long as he plays, and then it's going to be a toss-up between LaVine and DDR for me, most likely.
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. I'm going with DeJounte Vassell. I got to go with Vassell, especially with Bones starting. That's what I was going to touch on for the show. I wanted to end it with a bit of flair, but apparently we got the news before I even had the chance to tell you guys. People are likely going to flock towards Bones, and I'm cool with either one of them. It's not to say that either one is a bad play. The only thing that matters now is that Vassell's rostership ends up coming down a little bit, and that for me is all I need. So I will be playing DeJounte Vassell. I put the Bulls big three up there. It's not all three. Please don't try and
that would be tough. That would be tough.
Unless you're emailing DraftKings for an extra $50,000 in salary, it's not going to work. What I mean with that is that I want at least one of the Bulls big three. For my priority list, it's going to be DeRozan, then LaVine, and then Vooch. If AO is out, I am okay whether you go DeRozan or LaVine, depending on what you need for positional eligibility. If you have a lot of forwards that you like, the Olynyks, the Pokusevskis, we literally talked about a million forwards in the show today. If you have a lot of forwards that you like, you need a guard. If AO is out, I like LaVine just as much as DDR. So I will say that. And then I want at least one Hornet. So if you're eating the chalk with LaMelo, that's one thing. That's okay. If you want to get different with Kelly Oubre, PJ Washington, Terry Rozier, you need at least one Hornet tonight. And I will likely be getting a back and forth within that game, because if there's one thing that I'll say about Cade playing, while it likely limits my desire to play Hamidou Diallo, and Jeremy Grant takes a slight bump down, but I still like him.
He's still cheap enough, he can work.
Exactly. All it does for me that Cade plays is that it makes the game environment competitive. So that for me is, if anything, it makes me want a Detroit Piston even more so on the flip side of my one Charlotte Hornet. So those are our cores, and we'll run through some lineups now. Brian says Baby, BSB, Diallo, Poku, Comb Over Boys, DeJounte, Collins, and Whiteside.
Well, you can't. I wouldn't play Diallo now. I think you got to bail on that.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Especially
with Cade playing. Cade is such a high usage guy, right? So
right. I just don't think Diallo's got enough to make it worth it. Past that, I like it, but we just got to find you somewhere to. The only bad thing about that is you don't have any Minnesota Chicago exposure. That would scare the crap out of me.
See, this is what most people are landing on, right? You're not getting Minnesota and Chicago exposure, and that's exactly why we're all in on it. Got to do it. Also, Whiteside's an easy fade if Gobert plays,
and that could be a problem because you may not know. I mean, you have him in the utility spot, which is great, but what's
make sure you got a pivot. Make sure you got a pivot plan there. So that's the only thing that I'll say. I only see one lineup in the chat, unless I'm blind without my glasses on. I only see one lineup. But if anybody else has a lineup, please post it. We'll be on for like another minute or two. Bridges going ham tonight.
I mean, that could be any day. Miles Bridges.
Miles Bridges can hoop. Miles Bridges
earned himself so much money.
Yeah,
so much money.
He's got some hops.
81's not the most comfortable salary range for him, but I'm not going to sit here and say you can't play him.
Same cut. It's like a better version of the Tobias Harris justification that I gave. Like, I don't know if I could anchor my lineup around Miles Bridges. It's the only thing. I like it better when he's in the mid-range, and I can pair him with another mid-range and still get 2 studs. That's what I like to do. When Miles Bridges was in the $6,500, $7,000 days, gone are those days, a long time ago. But
yeah,
DeJounte Murray, D'Lo, Oubre, DDR, Olynyk, Bones, Vassell, and my boy DeAndre Hunter. I like that a lot.
Yeah, it's not that far away from a dummy lineup that I made while we were on the show. I'll leave it at that.
I like that a lot. Yes, I have a pivot if Rudy plays.
Okay, as long as you have something in mind, that's cool.
As you should. Good.
Yeah.
Very, very, very smart.
Brian knows.
LaMelo. Okay, I was tripping for a sec. I was like, how are you getting all these guys? And then I realized it's FanDuel. LaMelo. Like, look at how does this fit on FanDuel? LaMelo.
It's ridiculous, dude. It's ridiculous.
Trey, Terry is Terry Rozier, I assume. I don't know if there's another Terry on the side. I just assume
it's got to be
Terry
Terry.
Rozier.
Yeah.
D'Lo, Oubre, Tatum, Jeremy Grant. Okay, this is where you lost me with Bradley.
Bradley?
Is that Tony Bradley?
It's the only Bradley I see on the slate. I don't necessarily understand that one.
And PJ Washington? That's way too many Hornets. That's way too many Hornets. You gotta come off 2 of those Hornets. You have 4 Hornets.
You have what, 4?
Yeah, with Lamelo.
You are completely shipping on that first game, man.
Yeah, no, you can't.
It could work, but 4 is too many.
You can't do that. Don't play 4 Hornets tonight.
If you're playing LaMelo, I think the max you can go is 2.
Yeah, and you don't want Scary Terry as one of them.
Right.
So that's the only thing. Yeah. Last one of the day. DeJounte, Levine, Poku, Collins, Zach Collins, LaMelo, Vassell, and Bones. I like it.
Send it.
See, this is what I was saying, where if you need a guard and you're going Levine over DDR, I'm cool with it. LeVert starting. Bang. Model's on fire.
Not surprising with Garland out, yeah.
Absolutely not. So, windailysports.com/chat. Make sure you guys come and join. Both Adam and I will be in Discord, and we'll be able to continue helping you guys out. We got 50 minutes till first tip off here between the Charlotte Hornets and the Detroit Pistons, and a lot of teams in action early on today. So, I'll end it with this: with everybody rostering players that are before 8 p.m., that Minnesota-Chicago game is going overlooked, and it will absolutely win us a lot of money tonight. We are out for the week. That closes out the week. It's been a great week. It has been an absolutely great week. Adam, thanks for joining me tonight, bro. And we will see you all on Monday. Happy Fajita Friday, everybody.